Hey, Renee, we're going live any second now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I want to do a shout out to my manager, Kimley Smith, and all the people of New Mexico.
All right, Kimberly Smith and New Mexico. Here we go. Hey guys, today we're talking with Renee Peña, and as she takes us on her own hero's journey with life in Hollywood and her own one-woman show, Traveling with Angels, which has received rave reviews across the country. Renee has performed at the Kennedy Center, filmed in the Oval Office, talking with President Clinton. I love that. Toured the U.S. in a variety of stage productions and entertained audiences in Germany and Italy, where she won an All Europe Best Supporting Actress Award. She's on the multiple shows that I know you know about, including Scandal and Private Practice. And recent credits include SWAT, Young Shelton, With Love, an Amazon Prime series, and The Game on Paramount Plus. Welcome, Renee. I am so excited that you are here.
I know, I'm very excited. This is a lot of fun. You're a lot of fun.
We will continue to have fun. We're gonna talk about all kinds of things and get into the nitty gritty of what life as a actor is. And I want to start with something that it seems obvious to everybody, but I just want you to express it. It's like, why do actors act? What is the deal with this?
Is that obvious to everyone? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Um,
Why do actors act?
I know for me in the beginning, I loved to make people laugh. So
Okay.
the sound of their laughter just kind of was my jam. But the more I do, I think I enjoy reflecting life in all of its different forms. And I feel that sometimes acting can give people a different perspective in a different way. That if they're confronting it in their own lives personally, they might think of it harshly or differently or negatively. But if if it's stripped away, all of their defenses are stripped away and they're just watching something, maybe there's an opening for them to see things a little differently
Um,
and open up their mind to new possibilities. So
okay.
that's kind of what I like about it.
I think that's fair. I think that's vulnerable. I like that. Do you so you've done your one woman show, but you also act with multiple other actors. And what is the difference between doing your own thing and acting with actors?
Well, the difference is you really have to pay attention to how you really have to take that other person in.
Mhm.
Now with my one woman show, I have to take the audience in as well, but it's a little bit more laser focused when you're acting with another person to really pay attention to them and be open to what they're giving you. Because it's not just I learn my lines, I say my lines, I say my lines, you say your lines. It's it's a how are you saying that to me and how would I honestly react to that? Not just okay, now I say my line, however I prepared my line.
Gotcha. And so when you don't have that with the one woman show, it's just you and the audience. How do you make that work?
Well, you have it, but you have it in a more general form with the audience because the audience will give you feedback. And
Um,
so then you have to interact with that, but it's kind of it's broader. And so you're just trying to convey your own, and it changes. It changes on a different night. Audiences will change a show by the way they react. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. Um, and sometimes when I first started doing it, I was like a novice actor where I was just barreling through and doing it how I had rehearsed it, and this is what I have to say, and this is how you're going to hear it. But when I started opening up to how the audience was perceiving things, it it changed how I said the next thing, and maybe stopped and made me pause and made me interact differently with the audience.
that is cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get into just doing a one woman show? How did that happen?
Ooh. Okay, everything in my life is a long story
Okay,
that
let's hear a long story.
I try to make brief. Okay, so a friend of mine owned a theater and she was doing one woman show festivals. And this one particular year, she was going to be out of town and I had to run tech for her. I didn't really know what one person shows were. And I watched these, hers was specifically for women. And I watched these brave women get up and tell amazing stories that were funny, that were heartfelt, that were sad in some places, that were horrifying, some women. And I just thought this is remarkable, but I really wish I had that kind of courage and that kind of talent, but no, I don't. So
Mhm.
and so that's where the seed started, and then 10 years later, I had an opportunity, and I was in a certain place in my life where, things just collided, and I was able to meet up with Kimley Smith,
Mhm.
and she was teaching a class, and the beauty of her class was she told us, "You're gonna have this written, and we're gonna perform it in 3 months." And I
And
was
did
like,
you?
"Holy cow. Okay, that sounds really scary, but I don't wanna be writing this for years." And it was supposed to be just a check mark. Okay, I did it, move on. But it ended up, to my great surprise, being this beautiful show that ended up having the last 10 years I've been doing it because it just took on a life of its own.
Wow,
So,
you've done your show for 10 years now?
10 years, yeah.
Wow. When you do it now, you probably don't even have to think about it. Are you on stage or are you someone else on stage?
Well, I'm both. So I'm the narrator as myself. So I'll narrate you through certain stages of my life. But for instance, I start out and I'm a little kid. I'm 5 years old. And I'll
Okay.
narrate and I'll tell you, this is what happens. And then once I go into that scenario that I've just narrated how old I am and what's going on, then I'm a 5-year-old kid. And also in the play with me will be my mother, my grandparents, my husband. Um, and so mostly I don't really talk as them, I just respond to them in my show. So if
Oh.
they're talking to me, I usually go, I don't really want to do that. Or hurry up, come on, hurry up. Oh my God, you were late. And so that's how I respond. So people get a sense that I'm talking to somebody
Yes.
and I'm in the action of being a teenager or a young adult or um, an older adult.
No, so what do you want people to get out of the show when they come to your show? They've watched it and now they're leaving the audience. If you could be the fly on the wall, what do you want them saying about the show when they leave?
I want them to say they loved the family members that I talked about. There are four specifically. I want them to understand the love that I was just so fortunate to have grown up with, the support and the love that my family provided with to me, and that they probably have it somewhere in their lives. I think why people come away so moved from my piece is because the final part of my show, so I have a suitcase. I fill it
Mhm.
with a lot of experiences. I fill it with a lot of baggage and I carry it around through the whole show. I start out with this empty, lovely suitcase and then it moves and it gets full and it gets heavy. And at the end, it's kind of like get rid of all the baggage. Take just the love that was given to you because that's really what sustains you. Everything else is a hurdle to what you want, but the love gives you the wings.
Oh my gosh, that's profound. I like that. Now, I guess the reason now is why did you do this? Not just what and how, but why did you really go like, I want to do this one woman show and I've got something to say or something to prove or something to do? Why did you do this?
Well, it started out superficially. My husband had died a year and a half earlier,
Okay.
and I just got to a point where I was tired of crying. Um, I wanted to do something creative. I wanted to have something else to focus on besides my grief. And so when I took this class, um, I thought, I'm just going to write the funniest thing. It's just going to be funny and I'm going to laugh the whole time and everyone else is going to laugh. And so it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. It was getting deeper and more heartfelt, and there are a lot of funny parts in it, but I was just like, no, this is not this is not funny.
Uh-huh.
But Kim Lee, to her credit, just kept saying, and also because it wasn't going where I wanted it to go, I didn't think I had a show. And she was so calm the whole time. And she kept saying, "You have a show. I see it so clearly. I see your show. You just have to trust." And the thing that finally put me over the top was 2 weeks before I was supposed to perform this thing that wasn't even written yet. I
Uh-huh.
just had pages of just consciousness of writing, stream of consciousness writing. And 2 weeks before, I was just so distraught and I was raging to the heavens. Why don't I have a show? And once I got quiet, which I think is where all genius comes from, is the quiet, right?
Uh-huh.
The no more ranting, the no more forcing. Then an image of my grandmother's suitcase came into my brain. And my grandmother just didn't have a regular suitcase. She had a very prominent Zuni American artist paint a scene on this suitcase because she was a little eccentric and she loved to travel and she wanted to show off the land of enchantment, New Mexico, to other places. And this was her thing. So, and this was in the back of a closet of mine. I'd never
Uh-huh.
even thought of it. So when that came into my brain, I thought, oh, New Mexico, my grandmother, travel, which I have done extensively, and baggage. That one suitcase was a metaphor for so many things. And then I just said, "Well, this is brilliant." And I came home and my show was born from 11:30 that night until 7:30 the following morning. I just typed and I knew exactly what I wanted to pull out of all of this writing. And I brag about it mostly because I know deep within me that it wasn't born from me. It was really an idea that was given to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so for you, it's more, can I use the word spiritual? Is that where
very
you
much so.
feel it? Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. So I love the metaphor of the suitcase. That's just brilliant. Now, over the 10 years that you've been doing the show, how many more things have you either put in or taken out of the suitcase and changed the show?
Surprisingly none. It's all the same baggage. It's all
Hmm.
the same baggage, it's all the same, wonderful experiences. The interesting thing that I've found about my show is I've been very fortunate. I have a great support system, and so I have people that have come to see it many times. And and yet, in fact, I had a person at my last show who was there in my class, who was there when I wrote the class. So, and
Uh,
he's seen this show probably 6 times. Curtis Burke. Yay, Curtis, if you're
hey,
watching.
Curtis.
And he came up to me after the show this last time and he said, "Oh my gosh, Renee, you've really changed the show a lot. You added your mom." And I said, "It's word for word the exact same show as the first time I did it. But sometimes people are just in a different place, different things are going on in their lives. Um, and so they see it differently and they see characters differently and they didn't see the first time. So
Mhm.
even though it's the exact same show, people experience it differently depending on where they are in their lives.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Let me ask you something. I want to get philosophical for a second. Okay.
Okay.
You already started it, so I'm just following you.
Okay.
um, there are people, and I would say the majority of people in the world aren't professional actors, right?
Mhm.
What is it that if somebody says, God, I wish I could express myself like this, I want to do something similar to a one person show, right? What is something you think that people could do to get their thoughts, ideas, mission out into the world? What is something that they could do?
Live their life authentically,
Okay.
right? I mean, I think so many people hide behind a facade of what they think other people want them to be. And so they're acting, but not in an authentic way. A lot of times people say, oh, actors are probably really good liars
Mm,
because they see acting as a form of that's not us. But what I say is really good actors have a hard time lying because in order to be that character, you have to find that truth within you. And we are all good and bad and loving and hateful and vengeful, and it's all of those characteristics are part of each of us.
uh-huh.
And once you accept that, and I'm not telling people to be vengeful or spiteful, but sometimes we are. And I think to acknowledge that within us is more powerful than to deny it.
That is so true.
Because then
And
quickly you can let's say you were spiteful or vengeful. The sooner you can acknowledge that that's what was happening with you, the sooner you can either apologize or whatever it takes to move on.
if you're gonna wrap that up and just have some words of wisdom for people in the audience, would that be it? Or is there something you want to add to that?
That would be yes, that's a big one because it's taken me many years to learn that because there are the majority of the people in my life from birth on have been so supportive of me. The vast majority. And then there's a couple, a few that no matter what you did or no matter what you do, you cannot please them. And yet we turn ourselves inside out and wrap ourselves into a pretzel to please those few people.
Yep.
And we live the rest of our lives so inauthentically because we want these people to see us however they, I don't know, whatever doesn't please them. And usually I find whatever doesn't please them about you is what displeases them about themselves. And I feel also like the people in my play, the people I talk about, my two grandmothers, my husband and my mother,
Mhm.
are telling me with this play because they're all gone, right? They're now angels to me. And I feel like what they were telling me with this gift of this play was life is messy, right? You're going to
Yeah.
make mistakes. So the messy gets involved in my play too. But go on, live your life. We've got your back. And I think if you have people like that in your lives, or you can be that for yourself, acknowledge, yeah, life is messy. I screwed up, but someone's got my back.
That's amazing. When is your next show so that we can see? I saw you just did one on November 3rd.
Third,
Yeah.
yes. Um, my next show in LA will probably be next year or the year after. It's hard because you've got to get audiences, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I try to spread myself out and meet as many new people. And I'm like, hey, you been to my show? And
Do
then
you
when I
travel
feel
with it too? Or do you do it mostly in
yes.
LA? Okay.
No, well, I've mostly done it in LA, although as you can imagine, I have a lot of people who have asked me to do it back in New Mexico. That's a way easier sell because I'm from New Mexico. So in New Mexico, I've done it in theaters that hold 500 people,
Yeah.
and people are eager to see it because I'm a local girl and my family's big, so it helps that I have a big family
There you go.
who says, brings a friend. I've done it in Arizona. I've done it in San Francisco, Washington, D.C. I did it for a cancer medical conference, because some of the people in my show, one had cancer and two died of cancer. So that was something that they were interested in. So I've performed it a lot of different places
We're
in
gonna find a way
Colorado.
to get you out to Texas and Florida so we can see it here. Either that or
Yes,
I'm just about to fly out
absolutely.
and see you there. I want people to be able to get in touch with you, and they can do that on Instagram at renpin62. Love that. And they can also get in touch with you on Facebook at rene.pena.7503 and follow you and find out when the next shows are going to be.
Yes.
I will be following you. Matter of fact, you better be sending me some messages that says, Mike, I'm doing another show in LA. Get your butt out here.
Okay, I certainly will.
Okay. So we will definitely stay in touch. I love our conversation. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so
And
much.
you are amazing. Thank you. Okay. Bye, everybody.